get started 3 o'clock. I know a lot of people have other things going on. So last week we talked about soul contracts and all those things. Jen, you want to recap the questions that we went with, please?
Sure. Um, we basically talked about where we are as witches, what we identify now as us being the witches that we are, and then how are we going to move forward with that, resonating with the season and with the soul.
Okay. And then we dive deeper into soul contracts, and I asked everybody to write a soul contract. Um, I don't know if any of you feel comfortable sharing your soul contracts. They're very personal. They should be very personal. This shouldn't be a I'm here to teach people and lead people. That's not where you're going. This is like deeper. Are you healing ancestral wounds? Are you moving into a space of continuity with your soul and your purpose? That continuity piece is so important in this book. So I decided that whatever you guys do for that is your thing. So that's not my job to uphold your soul contract. That's your job. So what do I say to my kids? That is not my department, not round here, partner. So that is not what I do. But what I am going to tell you is if you are not living in accordance with your soul contract, things appear a lot harder than they need to be. I'm not telling you this because I'm preaching to you. I'm telling you this because I live it. When you reach in to do things that are beyond your grasp, your soul contract will remind you that's not your department. I worked with this woman when I was in my early 20s, loved her to pieces. She taught belly dancing, was her own free spirit. She was never any man's wife. Um, she loved other women's husbands, was her practicality, because she said they weren't her problem, so it wasn't her deal at the end of the day. And I never really judged her because I wasn't a judgy person. But I mean, now seeing having a husband now for all these years, like I can identify that's not my circus, that's not my monkey. So it was whatever she wanted to do with her life. She was very free. And she always had this philosophy when I'd say, why don't you do that? And she goes, that's not in my job description. And that was her answer on everything. She had rings on every one of her fingers. She recently lost a battle with cancer and she passed away. Wonderful woman. Just and her service was amazing. She didn't have like an open service because she passed away during COVID, so everybody attended during Zoom. And it was epic to see the amount of women that were there. And you would think a woman that was her philosophy on men, she wouldn't be a woman's woman, but she always had your back when something happened. Like she was just like, fuck him and fuck that and fuck this. And I loved her because she had this openness to her heart that was just purely authentic. It wasn't everybody's cup of coffee. It wasn't everybody's cup of bourbon. It wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but she was who she was. And she once said to me after I had my son, she looked at me and she goes, you may be single now, and you may be single for a long time. And many men will come across your path that you will think are a good fit. But when you find the right one, you will know. But until then, get on every top of everyone you can find just to be sure. And I laughed really hard that day, but she was very blunt about the things she felt. And I saw this authenticity in her life that not everybody liked her. And that was fucking okay. And not everybody saw the world the way she saw it, and that was okay. And the purpose of that path is not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to understand you, and not everybody's going to want to breathe the same air you breathe. But if you are living your soul contract and you are moving in your path, you don't fucking owe anyone an explanation. And that is a hard thing when we are trying to conform to community. So this book is like the absolute dose of reality that communities need. Because communities have this need to assimilate and be like one another and do all the same things together and do the same purpose together. And that's not your purpose. I can assure you, my purpose is very different than any one of your purposes. Not less, not greater, not anything, just different. Magic is not greater or less, it is different. And it smells and tastes and feels different for every person. Your idea and my idea of magic are not the same. When I fall on my face in front of my cauldron and my mouth fills with blood because I chipped my bottom lip, I know I'm there because I know it has hit that place where I've connected. When I relive a moment 100 different times and then that one time it's different, I know I've connected. So I think the biggest aspect that holds you back in this search for your soul contract is fear. And on page 50, you see this fear concept in here, and it shows the bees. And so many people are afraid of bees, and I don't get it because without bees, we wouldn't be here. Does it stink? Yeah, it fucking hurts. One summer I was mowing the grass, went over a beehive, and I had about 100 new friends in my pants. As I ran down the yard and into the swimming pool, they did not leave my side. They wanted to be my friend because I had pissed them off. Okay. So keep this in mind. You can run with the fear, you can walk with the fear, and you will succeed with the fear. But it's a hell of a lot easier if you're not afraid. Just if you have the moral of the story is even if you have 100 people on your back telling you you can't do this, you should probably fucking go ahead and do it if you feel like that's your soul contract. They are not going to sign your paycheck. They are not going to tuck you into bed. They are not going to be there on your deathbed to kiss your cheek and tell you they loved you. This is your life. This is your responsibility. So, whatever fear you have, you've got to address that fear prior to even walking into the winner phase. This reality of who you are and what you are requires a lot of in depth one on one conversations with you in your mirror. Are you okay with who you are? And it's okay if you're not. Because if you're in the process of healing a deep wound, you're in the process of addressing things that are wrong with your life, sometimes you're not going to like what you see in the mirror while you're working. You're not. Not going to like it. You might feel you look a little old. You might be disgusted by the way you've allowed people to treat you. You might have your situation that's just not ringing true to your authentic self. Some of us have this need to be accepted so hard, we do what everybody wants. It's not going to fucking help you in the long run. It's not. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to make it better. It's also going to give the fear a real root. I mean, how many of you have ever pulled a dandelion? Them bitches are hard to pull. Those roots are deep because they grow with the resistance of fear. They know they're a weed. Everybody else knows they're a weed too. Very few of us value what they are worth. So if you're a weed in life, keep on keeping on because it's not going to change. People are still going to think you're a weed no matter what you fucking do. You can stand there 10 feet tall and be the prettiest weed in the whole world. People are still going to look at you going, that's a weed. My husband and I are case in point. He looks at the yard and sees weeds. I look at the yard and see medicine. Different. We view the world different. And these people who yell, don't take all the dandelions, you're hurting the bees. There's plenty of fucking dandelions. Take the medicine you need. It's been provided for you. Use what you need. Don't abuse it. Same goes in friendships, magic, life. Take what you need. Don't fucking abuse it. Because when you turn to abuse it, that is when your fear is going to get the fucking upper hand. And you will find that in all those archetypes you've written. Your shadow of every archetype has to do with some kind of deep-seated fear you carry. You know, we're doing Medusa over in the other area, and we're talking about alchemized shadows this week and gave all this stuff. And I talked about how your shadow is really overwhelming in your life, but then it becomes a part of your shield. That shadow that you gain control of becomes part of your shield. What if these archetypes, one by one, you could learn how to leash the darkness and make it shadow the light? Tattoos are way more beautiful when there's dark and light in them. Nobody just wants a light tattoo. Nobody just wants a cup of coffee that's totally black, unless you're a psychopath, and I salute you for that. But You want a little bit of cream in there. You want a little bit to change it around. Even in our teas, not everybody wants your tea totally just that base tea and dark. You want the lightness. You want the things that bring it forward. Your ability to alchemize your soul contract into soul living and get past your muggle self every day is a huge asset. And we don't use it. So when you look at these fears, I want each of you to really sit into the fear that you have. You know, for some people, we grew up poor, so money is a huge fear. For some people, we were always the outcast, so friends and community are a huge fear. For some people, we've had tragic events as children, and being alone as an adult is a fear. Whatever your fear is, you need to really own it and almost make it an integral part of your archetype, if that makes sense. So if your fear is always running out of money, what can you do to make sure you're hustling just enough to sustain yourself? If friendship is your fucking fear, people not accepting you, how can you have just a small circle of people that support you and that's enough? Greed is a huge feeder of fear. And people don't understand it. Greed is not always money. There's a lot of different aspects of greed. You shouldn't have to worry every fucking day of your life when you get up as an adult that people are not going to like you, that people are not going to love you, and you're not enough in the world. When you get out of bed and you're breathing, you're enough. You made the cut. You're not dead today. Make sense? You're 6 feet above and not 6 feet below. I'm sure you've heard an old person say that. An elderly person will always say that. Well, I'm 6 feet above today, so I'm killing it. For me, I'm not that smoking hot body is my last chance, that cremation. That's where we're at. So if I'm not in the urn, I'm still here. And I still need to do the work every day to earn my spot. That's fucking important. Not the work for you, not the work for the circle, not the work for anyone else. The work to stay in my soul lane and live that I am content and happy. That's more important than anything on this circle. Anything on this circle of outward needs. You guys all are familiar with the hierarchy of needs, where food, water, and shelter are baseline needs, and then you have friendship, community, all those things over and above. The hierarchy of needs is yes, Maslow. It's so important because people forget. I will look for a diagram of that to put in the chat, like I did the love languages last week. Maslow's a great thing to look at. Your hierarchy of needs is really important when you're talking about fear. Because if your fear keeps you from needing your baseline needs, that is a fear that needs addressed with therapy and probably a doctor's visit because clinical depression is very serious. If you can't do things to get out of your own way, you got a problem, period. And people always say, oh, I'm just working my way through it. I'm just having a rough day. No, sometimes it's more than a rough day. It's a rough season. It's a rough year. It's a rough 4 or 5 years. And you'll see this when people come out of addiction, people have a huge loss, people dissolve a marriage or a long-term relationship. They can't handle it. It begins to take them down on a level of just utter destruction. And you see how she comes into this. What is life deconstruction? So did you all get to page 54 with life deconstruction? Because that's a really important concept. So let's discuss this. Those of you that read it, what do you get out of the life deconstruction? Sorry, I had to have my old lady magnifier so I can read along with you. Do you all have one of these? Who should get one of these? These are amazing. Everybody's laughing at me. Look how big my eyes are in it. So it's a full-blown access shift. What does that mean to you? Jen?
Burn it all down. Oh,
You can have it all burned down or you can burn it all down.
have it all burned down. Yeah.
I mean, if we're deconstructing it ourselves, we're probably burning it all down. And I don't know about you guys, but burn it all down in the community we're in right now is a serious fucking thing that's happening. It's a serious fucking thing that's happening. People are dissolving long-term relationships. People are moving into other levels of practice. Baptist Cauldron, we're all following her. We've all followed her for a long time. She did a name change. Miss Wolf Witch. The day she made an announcement, I am no longer going to be the Wolf Witch. I'm moving into something else. And people look at this as an inauthenticity, but it's not. She's fucking changing. And you're allowed to fucking change. This thing where you expect someone to stay like this and be like this and do this for you because that's what they've already done, that's not how life works. That's why I hate the concept of Christian marriage. Because you are supposed to stay there forever and ever. Amen. Okay? Yeah, my husband ain't getting out of this. Don't let him fucking hear that. But when you look at this, you have to accept that people are going to change and life is going to become evolved. And he becomes more of a mean old man some days, and I become more of a weirdo some days, but we're still here and made a decision to stay here. Okay? So relationships are flexible, deconstruction is real. Now, so the way I look at this, and you guys can look at this any way you want to, is I think marriages, friendships, business arrangements, uh, anything in general where you have a commitment to doing something that other people expect something of you requires an oil change. And you take your car in for general maintenance, and you take things in for general maintenance. And when you change the oil, you get rid of all the toxins that are in your car, right? Just like you're supposed to cleanse and fast in cycles to get rid of things. Your body does it. It tells you to if you're a woman. Your body cleanses. We know have baby, we get rid of all this. Bye. That's how that works, okay? It's a simple process. So if you're in a situation where you're leading or teaching or have a friendship where you're the one holding the bag, sometimes it's like, no, time out. No more of this. We need to make this work for both of us or nothing at all. And I know people hate that it's all or nothing stance. You're deconstructing, it's all or nothing. Either there's respect for yourself and what you're doing, or what you're doing needs to change. That's the point of deconstruction. And nobody wants to talk about that. Respect is a huge issue. If people do not respect you, they should not be in your fucking presence. They should not be sitting with you. They should not be breaking bread with you. They should not be there with you. You don't respect someone, get out of their area. Someone wrote me the other day and she goes, Sissy, I'm really pissed off. You're charging for the Medusa class. I said, I hear you. I see you. And you have to understand that things have changed. My life has changed. I had to burn it all down. We all know the last year, things have changed. My commitments have changed. My priorities have definitely changed. And my tolerance for bullshit is at an all-time low. You want to be bullshit? Buy bullshit. Like I made a priority of my child, my sacred peace, and my life. I took on a book project that I probably should have shoved up my ass and put sideways because it's still a pain in my fucking ass right now. Believe me, when fucking Farrell's in your hands, I will do a fucking naked dance party and broadcast it on YouTube because I'm fucking done. Love the book, but it's driving me crazy. Never thought that alignments would drive me crazy for 45 minutes at a time, but they do. Okay? And when you look at these things, you're realizing the sacred processes that you once loved are pissing you off. So all these people who I do this every moon, I do this every moon, I do this every moon, I do this every moon. Why not burn it all down and try something new for a moon phase? Just try something new. Just step into this session. The snow moon's going to have a totally free circle. Totally free circle. You guys got snow moon papers in that winter supplement. That was something new for you guys. I did the whole cycle in a PDF. We're done. That's all you're getting. Take them, take it or leave it. That's what the option is. You have to be in a place with deconstruction that enough is enough. This is all I'm willing to tolerate. This is all I can take. Nothing else, no more. I'm not in high school. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not in fucking high school anymore. And I sat at the popular table in high school and people didn't make fun of me. That didn't happen because I was fucking nice to people, even when they didn't deserve it. And believe me, with a name like Sissy, Pissy was the prime winner, okay? Just saying. I played softball, I was active, I enjoyed my high school career. It wasn't excruciating for me. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I've always been the outcast. I've been weird my whole life. Believe me, Talks Quietly was never struck over with an S. It was always an N. And when I said something in class, I was always like, oh my God, she just needs to shut the fuck up. That was me. You know that person in the lives where y'all go, oh God, she just needs to shut the fuck up. Yeah, that was me. Now you're all sitting in my class. What does that fucking tell you? Just be you consistently through your whole life. What triggers people with you has a lot to do with what they see in the mirror. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying you're perfect. I'm not saying anybody's fucking perfect. But I'm saying at least own your fucking soul contract. Own your deconstruction. You guys go to these dark moon phases and you blast out shit. You banish shit, okay? And I love that. And this Medusa workshop has the shedding that we're gonna blast shit at that time frame. Fucking love that for us. Even if you're not in the Medusa workshop, you might get some banishing prompts over on the regular side of the cauldron because I think these banishing time frames are really important. I'm a dark moon kind of bitch. Um, somebody said the other day she's a catfish. I'm a big mouth bass. I'm a trophy bitch. She put me up on the wall when you catch my ass. And I guarantee you when I come out of the water, I'm like gonna be like, what the fuck did you pull me out of there for? Because I'm good with that. Okay. But you really need to understand when you're shedding, you're doing exactly that. And what's the one thing as witches, like we walk into our garden sheds or we walk outside and we see that big snake skin, we're like, ooh, that's nice. Guess what? Your snake skin's nice. All those marks on it, all those scars on you, mommies that have babies pulled out of us after we're cut in half, all those episiotomy scars, mamas, all those cuts on your arms from doing the stupid shit in your life you've done. Thank God there wasn't social media when we were teenagers. That's all I'm going to say. The shit people would have on me. Okay. There's scars all over my body. I drove fast cars. I dated bad boys, and I'm okay with it because those scars had made me who I am. When you're deconstructing, you can't forget what you're cutting out. You still got to just put it over there and look at what it's done for you. Look at what it's made of you. Yes, there are traumas that are less than wonderful to hold. We all have those. But deconstruction is the key to making fear no longer the driver. Some of you are shotgun to fear. You are not driving it like you stole it. You're sitting in the passenger side going, just don't kill us this time. Can't live like that. When fear is driving, you can't live like that. I mean, how many people have seen Talladega Nights? I know, I fucking love this movie. People hate it, but I love this fucking movie, okay? Ricky Bobby has to learn to drive with the fear in the car because they put the fucking cougar in the car, okay? It's an analogy for life. That fear is never going to go away. You need to learn how to drive again once the fear exists. So, whatever you're afraid of, you need to look at it, put it in its own container, draw yourself a nice jar. I know you all know what a jar looks like, right? Yeah, you're all witches. I'm sure you bitches know what a jar looks like, okay? Case in point, jar. I mean, there's there is one within arm's reach of you, I'm sure, right now, okay? Make yourself a nice jar. Maybe I can find a ball canning PDF to put up there for you. Nikki's over there in Indy where the University is, and she's got all these ball jars. She's like, I'm where they're at, Sissy. I'm like, I know, Nikki. I know. So she has all these jars. So get this jar, draw it on the paper, and put it in there. Fill that jar. I'm guessing you probably need more than one jar. Because some of you have more than one fear that's driving this bus. Your fears keep you awake, and your fears also keep you from deconstructing and building up with a strong foundation again. Anybody has the power to move forward and name a fear. You have that within you. You've had it all along. Okay, listen, you've had it all along, Dorothy. Let's click those red shoes together. It's time to go back home. Because we live in this fantasy where we have no power over what has happened. And you do. At all costs, you always have the power to turn the page and flip the script. So let's say your fear is, oh, I don't know, not completing something in this witch work you're working on. I'm sure you're all working on something. Everybody has like this manifesto in their journals that we're working on, at least one concept, right? So, say your manifesto is, I would really like to make sure I hit the seasonal high points this year. Just even the seasonal high points. That cuts it down to 4 from like what, 8? We're usually looking at 8. What if we focus on 4, okay? So I don't want to die in winter. I want to be able to plant something in spring. I want to enjoy summer a little bit, and I want to harvest and enjoy my life in fall. Okay. So, what's going to keep you from hitting those points? For some people, it's perfection. They want to do it all perfect. They want it to look perfect. They want it to present perfect. How many of you have never shown a project you've made for a Sabbath when there's a sharing point because you don't think it's good enough? It's everybody's made a broom, but I guarantee you we don't see your brooms. For every beautiful broom like this I have like 5 that are ugly as fuck, I assure you. 5 at least that are ugly as fuck. Believe me. I've tried making brooms with mullein sticks. Oh, shit gets ugly, okay? But the point of the matter is, I made the effort. And just like you're like a broom. You can take it all apart, bring it back, and start again. As long as the bones are good, the witch will grow. Know what's important to you when you're deconstructing. That's your backbone. What is important in your life? What is important in your craft? What is important in your heart? What are the things that are important to you? And all of us have different things that are important to us. For me, my altars have changed greatly this year. It used to be, oh, I want this shit to be fire. I want it to be beautiful. It's not what I want anymore. I want it to have meaning. I want it to have tide. I don't want to waste my wax. I want to go from this candle to this candle to work this candle to make this candle. I want to reuse, recycle, and retain my magic as I move forward because that's not junk. That's good shit you're working with. And so many of you don't give credit to the deconstruction process. There's a reason we focus on descents in the witch world. There's a reason we do it. It is the regression. It is the moving forward, yet reminding ourselves of how far we've come. And it's important. Some of you are writing me, I'm so excited for this Medusa workshop. I hope it's what the last one was. I hope it's not. Because the last one was hard as fuck for a lot of people. I hope this spring for all of us looks nothing like it looked last year. Nothing. My spring's already changing drastically. From what I've written out from my winter to spring progression has changed drastically. Doctor's appointments change those every day for me. My working schedule changed. How many times has the in-bulk thing been moved? I can't fucking cook to save my life this week. I can't fucking quiet my mind to bake a loaf of bread. You should have saw the bread I made yesterday. It was fucking pitiful. It was sad. Couldn't even make a pizza on that shit. It was a bad day. And you know what? I'm not going to do it to myself. When it's right, it will click. Deconstructing and using your timing is the most fucking important part of this process. This book tells you that. Your spring may be in your winter, and your summer may be in your fall. I thrive in fall. That is my season to thrive. I don't thrive in spring. It's too fucking hot, and I'm too fucking fat for that shit. Fuck it all. I'm done with that. I'm going to sit my fat ass in the sand at the beach, or I'm going to lay in my backyard in a child's pool with my daughter and just enjoy my life. And my white trash, I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't give a fuck what people think. I don't give a fuck what people have to say. I've learned in the last 9 months of my life, everything can be gone like that. And it was for 3.7 minutes. I'm never doing it again. I'm never taking one more fucking minute for granted. If something doesn't work, it's rescheduled. If something doesn't hold, it's rescheduled. If that is too much for the world, fuck it. So I guess I've already burned it all down. Because I've had people tell me, I can't stand the way the cauldron's going. I'm out. Love you. Best of luck. I can't. I'm a mother first and foremost. You are a magical, sacred being. When you find your soul contract, you will find there is no compromise in it. So, how do you guys want to work with your fear? What is going to be the way that we can work with this fear and maneuver it to make it a powerful deconstruction tool for us? Everybody's like, please don't put me in the spot. A creative process to work through fear is really helpful. So, how are you going to journal it? How are you going to, of course, I'm going to say journal it. Claudia's down there going, Sissy always says journal it. We're going to journal it. We're going to waste that paper, bitches. What if we pretty journal it? So, coloring is a fantastic release. You saw the Snow White lecture. I gave you all some things to color while I talked tonight. Because I find I focus better when I color. I do. I have to occupy that side of my brain. If you have neurodivergent or you have ADHD, you need to fucking keep busy while people are talking or you ain't going to stay on task. So, what if you use circular journaling? For those of you that have been here a while, you know what I'm going to talk about with circular journaling. Okay. So, you start with your fear in the center of the page. Okay. Whatever it is. If it's, fear, whatever, put it in the center of the page and write your way out of it. That eventually you become free of it on the outside of the circle. It's a beautiful process. It's a great way to work an intention. And it's also a beautiful way to look at it when you're done and you can color it and make it a beautiful flower when you're done with it. It also allows you to find the key points in working out of the fear. How are you going to work out of this fear? So let's say your fear is not having enough to survive, okay? Which financially right now, everybody has that fear. Finances are really tough all over the US right now. It's very hard. Even some of my friends that are in foreign countries are like, bitch, what is going on? So start with I don't have fear enough. I'm going to make sure I have enough for this week. I'm going to prepare and cook and not waste. I am going to plant a garden to provide for myself. I am going to learn to retain all parts of what I use for further workings. So people buy carrots at the premium market, okay? They buy these carrots at the premium market, have these tops on. And what do they automatically do with them? Oh, they throw them away, right? Cut that top off, dry it, hanging it, dry it, and use it for abundance work. It's a dual purpose. You get an apothecary item and a food item. Start learning how to multi-purpose what you use. It's a great way out of fear. Because if you're doing 2 and 3 things with one thing you have, you're multiply accomplishing this. You have to get a bath every day, right? Well, you don't have to every day, but it helps. So you're not stinky girl. But anyway, I have to get a bath every day because I was raised like that. That's like the big thing. So when I get my shower every day, I use that time to meditate. How am I going to make better use of the time I have? I'm going to meditate. I'm going to turn my phone on to record while I talk in the shower to write what I need to write. Because then I can sit back, listen, and push it all out on the computer after it's done. There are certain spaces my mind works better in. You guys might work in complete quiet. I need to have an Amazon playlist running of screaming, yelling, angry music to write that Medusa workshop. That channels that for me. That opens that space for me. Whatever you need to do to get through your fear, you need to find coping mechanisms to get into the driver's seat and out of the shotgun seat. Once you know these, you can then deconstruct with success. Does that make sense? Everybody's like, this book does not mean this much. It does. We've been doing this for 3 weeks and we're only on page 54. This book, it's that much. You can't go chapter by chapter in this book because the exercises are important. We're not even at winter yet, are we? What the fuck? We need to get moving. So when you deconstruct and you get in the driver's seat, that is where you're going to move forward. Okay. Then relook that soul contract. Because how much of that soul contract did you write with your fear in mind? So the reason we don't share our soul contracts is because they're not up for discretion of others. Does that make sense? What Jen is, what Vicky is, what Jeanette is, what Kim is, what Shannon is, what Kathy is, what Claudia is, what Roberta is, what Christina is, what Lisa is, what Ashley is nobody's fucking business. Because when you were the beautiful light you are and you signed your contract, nobody knew you. And I guarantee you in 10 years from now, this same circle of women are not going to know you. I know that's a hard thing to say, but it's true. Because you are going to move and you are going to evolve and you are going to change. And the woman we know right now is not going to be the same woman. I can tell you that for a fact. Because the woman I met in Vicky is not the same woman now I know. We were both in a group prisoners because we didn't want to leave everybody alone. And here we are, fucking leaving everybody alone over there. And the same guy is fucking beating them. There's nothing we could do because they were letting fear run the show. And we both stayed in a place we didn't belong because of fear. How many of you are living in a place you don't belong because of fear? Doesn't work. When I met Claudia, she was so not the woman she is right now. Nothing. Like you thought I looked like a kindergarten teacher? First time I met Claudia, I'm like, kindergarten teacher. Kindergarten teacher. I'm like, why is this woman coming to me? I have nothing in common with her. And I have the utmost respect for Claudia. She's an amazing woman. She's a potter. She's an amazing mom. And she owns being a mom like a beast. And that's something I've seen come of Claudia on her own work. You each are going to accomplish amazing things with or without this circle because it's up to you how the fear runs you. It doesn't matter where you sit in classes. It doesn't matter where you sit in any of those things. Does gathering in large groups of women really push you forward? It does. Because it's that cheerleader section that none of us have in our lives every day. Believe me, my husband doesn't sit behind me and go, good candle, baby. Good candle. No, he does not say that. He goes, why is all this fucking junk in my house? Why are there sticks in my yard that you're not throwing away? And can I clean up these fucking pine cones? That's what I hear. Okay. The exact words yesterday were, I cannot tell the pine cones from Sam's poop anymore. This needs cleaned up. Okay. That's where we're at. So when you sit in these sessions, the women that are here are like your spiritual cheerleading section. So it has to be fucking authentic. So we have to actually fucking give a fuck. If we don't belong in the space. Period. So you're going to name those fears, circle journaling. Anybody else have any other fear journaling recommendations? Because I'm an avid of the circle journaling and I also like the fear container where I write everything in a container. But there's other ways to do this. So does anybody else have other ways to do this? You're all sitting here going, it is Sunday, Sissy. I do not want to fucking think. Why are you making us think? I think something that we've always done in the group when we've done self-care challenges is the positive polys. Does that make sense? Do you guys familiar with positive polys? Those that have been here a while know what a positive poly is. So it's a jar you keep on your altar and you write positive things about yourself once a month. It's a great thing in February to do. We're like, what, at the 4th? You can think about 4 things about yourself from the last 4 days, put them in the jar, and keep them till the end of the month, not the 14th. Okay, not the 14th, the whole fucking month. February is a self-love month, not till Hallmark says you can stop loving yourself, okay? So go the whole month and write 28 days about yourself. Put them in a journal when you're done. Sit there on the new moon in February, at the end of February, and write them. The next new moon after February, okay? That should be like right around the end of the month, I think. Are we running that way, or is full moon's like the 25th, isn't it? So it'd be in March. Pull them out in March on that new moon and write them in your journal. Continue writing on those things about yourself that you love. Revisit that page. So when the days the fear grows, you can go back and go, I am strong enough to move away from this. I do have enough confidence to be better than this. I do have the gumption to push this to the end. Some of us, workshops are too much to fucking process. One workshop is too much for some women to stick to. This book's going to be fucking hard. Everybody's like, I can't wait to do this book. How many people are here today? Nice to see you, Dirty Dozen. Um, I can't wait to do this book. Where the fuck are they? So if you're not here, hi, I'm calling your ass out. Nice that you didn't meet us today. See you next time. So when you do this, this is a book for you. This isn't for the circle. This is for you. So what are you reading along with this book is what I'm curious right now. Because I know you're all, and I don't want to hear about your dirty books, you little nasties. I want to hear about real rich books. You nasties. I know you're all reading dirty books. What are you reading, Jeanette? Oh, no, no, thank you. Not round here, partner. Unmute yourself, Jeanette.
It's Crow Speak Anthology. I just got it by Joey Morris. And I'm also reading the Mythic Moons of Avalon.
I've heard good things about that book.
It's really good.
I've heard good things about that.
Complicated. It's a year-long process too. So it's going well with this.
I'm reading a Christian parent book written by a mother of a chronically ill child called The Stars That Bind, and her struggle to keep her faith while going through the illness. And believe me, we're all not so different. Because sometimes the deconstruction strips you down to the base. No matter what's going on, you have something in common with other people. You're human by nature. We are humans raised by humans. Like, he says an elf. I'm a human raised by elves. Well, we're humans raised by humans, and we didn't come with an instruction manual. So I can say for you, the first thing in this fear thing is stop blaming your past for what your present will be. It's not going to change. If you use your past as a crutch for everything that happens, nothing's going to change. You'll read this whole book and nothing will change in your life. Embracing the past for what it gave you, even if it's trauma, it's like that TikTok. What did your past give you? Emotional damage? Like, even if that's the case, you have to embrace that's what happened and move forward and use your experiences to help other people. That's the key to bad experiences. Ooh, Christine's reading Baba Yaga. I love that. I love me some Yaga. There's a creator the other day, she did a image of a Baba Yaga with like the chicken feet and her face. Oh, that was fucking fire. Give me goosebumps. I don't want to deal with Baba Yaga, but if she's coming that way, I'm here for it. I did want to play with her, but if she shows up, I guess that's what we do. Um, I think the most important thing for you guys to realize is it's not how many pages of this book you get done in a day, it's how deep you can get in. So, did you guys get the PDF with the winter edition one? The fucking feral one with the winter extra pages? Okay, so there's some prompts in there. And these were mine that I added. These are not from the book. So it gives you a set of archetypes on page 15. And then there's some things, and just things I added. Like I gave you some paper to add to your journal, like for those of you that print out your journal paper. So there's a soul self perspective. And then there's the human self-suspect perspective, and then there's just a fucking journal page for you. So you can print them out to use at your discretion. But these archetypes, look at the archetypes that you're seriously living, along with that fear aspect. So the questions this week should be, what is your fear? And how do you plan to work within it to accommodate your soul contract? So how can you propel yourself into that soul contract, still having these fears and managing to maneuver and perhaps program manage them? Isn't that what they say in like the construction world? Project manager. You need to be the project manager of this situation, as my husband would say. I am the project manager. I think that's just white hat, right? That's just the person that makes the decisions. I am the white hat in this situation. Unfortunately for you, you are not only the white hat, but you are also down in the trenches doing the work. So you have to consider that duality. And what aspects are you going to add to your workings to support this deconstruction of this fear? So the deconstruction of the fear is just as important as identifying the fear. So that journaling is to write you out of it so you can really see the aspects that are really bothering you. Find the governing trigger in the fear. That's how you will deconstruct it. Does that make sense? So women who have a safety issue, like they've had bad personal experiences outside with people, walking home and feeling safe, some of them carry a weapon. Some of them don't go out late at night anymore. So what are you going to do to hit the trigger part of it to move forward? Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to identify the trigger, because that's how you're going to deconstruct it, to annihilate it and assimilate it to move forward. This whole reevaluation of the fear in this section shows that sometimes it might require more than you to address a fear, correct? So this is where I'm going to say, if you have a disconnection, a numbness, an inability to function in your normal expectations, you probably need a therapist. Or you definitely need to see your doctor and say, hey, listen, I'm not dealing with this well. How do I move forward? Witchcraft is never, never, ever a substitute for mental health care. And some people go, oh, I did all the shadow work and I was fine. That's cool. Who are you doing the shadow work with? Yourself. So if you're not fine to start with, the shadow work you're doing with yourself is probably not going to be fine either. Correct? Is that fair? It won't hurt you to look into finding someone. I know the wait lists are really long, but there's a lot of online apps where you can get someone a lot faster than others. And I know people say, well, the online apps aren't good. Really? Because I think for somebody that has a fear of leaving their home, or somebody has a fear of trust, that is a good boundary to work with someone, because when you're done, you can shut it off. You don't have to go any further. It's done there. So consider that whatever your level of fear is, if you have a therapist, talk to them and say, hey, listen, I'm working through this. I'm working through this book and I'm really working on this aspect of myself. If they don't understand what you're talking about, they're not the therapist for you. Because a lot of therapists have, and a lot of these apps have a way of saying, what is your belief system? That's important to answer. Don't skip that question, because you will automatically get matched with a Christian counselor first and foremost, because it's the most acceptable religion in all search engines. So if you don't go along with the Christian formulary, you need to tell them. Because the first thing they're going to tell you when you say you have fear, if they're a Christian counselor, is, did you pray? And that's when you're like the cat that ate the raw milk, and you're like, no, I did not. Okay. I have a meme for that, by the way. I will be sharing it soon. Can I pray for you? Please don't. Um, like, that's not the solution. You can't pray away your problems. They're not going to go away. Even our deities aren't going to look at you and go, what are you doing to help yourself, bitch? This is funny. What do you want me to do about it? I'm over here in this ideology, and I'm not sitting here with you every day. It's very rare that you hear people go, oh, this person showed up and helped me out of nowhere. There are miracles. They do happen. I'm not going to discredit that. But if you're going to heal and you're going to move forward and you're going to go into this cycle, you need to do the work for you. So that means identify the fear. If you haven't written your soul contract, write your soul contract. I know some people wrote me, I just haven't had time, Sissy. That that's up to you. It's like that commercial on television with the women in the bathroom. We all poop. Take your book with you. We all poop. I know for some of us that are moms, that's our only 10 minutes a day that nobody comes in. I am not lucky. I have a little girl and I still get company. What are you doing, Mom? I'm busy. Why? What are you doing? Like, did you leave? What? You have to think about these things. When are you going to make time for your wellness? Some of you talk about fear of not having enough time. I hear that a lot in the craft. I don't have enough time to do all this. I don't have enough time to do all this. And I will give you credit. There are times you don't have enough time. When life is throwing things at you right and left, like a pitching machine, you don't have enough time. But what if you sat aside with like a small schedule in the beginning of the week? And I'm terrible for telling you this. I'm about to teach you something I do not do. So please notate this. Okay. I'm about to teach something I do not do. Are you ready? And write out when you would have time to do this. Because mine usually gets done when I'm too exhausted to do physical things anymore. When I can't look at the television anymore, when I can't look at the computer screen anymore, just my body needs to shut off. Then I write in this aspect for myself because this is self work. This isn't LHC work. This isn't book work. This isn't doctor's appointments. This is self growth. And like every other woman, your self growth always comes last. Caring for yourself is important. And if you don't do it, you won't survive. And you'll never reach that level that you have potential to be. So we covered a whole lot. I'm going to tell you something, and you're all going to hate me for it, but we probably got to read up to page 64, 65, 66, 67, 67 for next week, for the next time we meet, right? So the reading should be up to there because all you crystal horrors are going to be ecstatic. We're going to hit on crystal magic. If you are a crystal horror, when this stuff goes up and you see in the cauldron cackle and the alchemy heart, share what your crystals are that you're using for wintertime. Because there are women who are not so experienced, and I know women are watching this book talk that are not participating. So if we can help a little bit and share what we carry, I'm not a crystal person. I carry weird rocks that I found at weird places. But I'm not much of a crystal. Like now I have a selection of shells and some weird rocks and that kind of crap. So really reach down and try to figure out what works for you, but I'd say up to page 67 for next time. Does anybody have any questions? I know we only covered like 4 pages this week. Jen, you're all like, what the hell is this?
What I think is really important for everybody is that, again, you addressed this immediately, spot on with the first minutes, and I loved it. This is your personal soul contract. So there's no right, there's no wrong, as long as you're being authentic, as long as you're being real to yourself, then it is your document. Because a lot of reactions to some of the prompts were, I don't know what to do. Is this right? Is that right? And the whole point is you are the magic. It's in you. So if you choose to do whatever it is you do and follow along with what we're talking about, if that's what it is, then that's what it becomes. And I like the fact that we're given the identity of our craft to create our thing. And it's not being turned in. I know I'm an ex-school teacher, but I'm not going to grade you. Even if it is, it's a pass or fail. So anything you do, as long as it's resonating with you, your magic, your elements, if it's crystals, if it's astrology, if it's the moon, if it's spell work, it is totally your document. And I hope anybody who watches the replay gets, if when we say, because a lot of people, what am I supposed to write? It's you. And so the tools are in the lecture, as well as we come up with some prompts. But if you have prompts that you're doing that are working for you, this is your spiritual path, your growth. So I just wanted to say that because I think that was just, you hit it spot on. And I just want to reiterate that it's our soul journey, not Sissy's soul journey, not Claudia's soul journey, not anybody famous journey. This is our path. And so whatever you do, as long as you're connecting and resonating and growing and, discussing, you're doing it right.
It comes back to this thing where you all do things every day for daily maintenance. Like there's things you do every day for daily maintenance, whatever it is, okay? And I know I make jokes all the time. I don't use yoga because I can't flex that way. And I probably could if I tried, but I don't care enough to try sometimes with things. So I'm going to be open and very blunt with you all. If you don't make time for your mental well-being, your mental well-being will cause you to make time. You will get sick. Things will shut down. Life will give you three impossible things before breakfast, just like Alice. And you will look at it and go, I just can't do this anymore. And the first thing people drop is their craft. That is the first thing that goes because we have become a community. Now, here comes everybody. Big pissed what I'm about to say. Okay. So you can fucking eat this, digest it, spit it out, bleh, whatever you want to do with what I'm about to say. This is not a fucking practice or a hobby. If you have come this far in what you do, this is your lifestyle. This is what you do. It's not a take it or leave it. It is who you are. It is what you believe. Therefore, in my eyes, and this is going to piss the whole witch world off. I'm going to get hit on YouTube. This is my religion. This is what I believe. This is how I feel. This is no longer just a practice. That's not a practice for me. What I do within my religion is practices and ritual. But my core belief is that my goddess put me here in a meat suit to see how I do this time around. I'm sorry. I believe I'm part of the elements. I believe I'm part of this rock I live in. And I don't believe there's anybody there listening to me when I scream out. We are all in this together. And the way we treat each other is very fucking important. And I am not about to compromise anymore the amount of energy that I have within my temple. If you guys are doing this as your practice, I'm here for this, okay? I'm fine with that. But for me, it's not that anymore. And a lot of people get very angry about this, and it becomes a very volatile issue. Fucking Pharaoh will have it right there in the beginning. This is not a hobby for me. This is my religion. So it's gonna piss people off right out the fucking gander, and I don't fucking care because I'm not here for it anymore. Everybody is entitled to believe what they want to believe. In the same aspect, I respect what other people believe. And I'm not going to tell them they can't do what they do. So I had someone write me the other day. She goes, I'm a Christian witch and I really want to join your community. I said, you're welcome to the community. I said, but you're probably going to find me highly offensive. And she's like, I don't think so. I'm very tolerant. I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna test your tolerance. I said, but you're welcome to come. And she goes, okay, I'll come. She attended the introduction to Medusa. And she wrote me and she said, you have a nasty, disgusting mouth, and I will not be back. Took one night. One night. There's more offensive things than what people say. Sorry. This book is an exercise in self-discovery. It says right on the back, take a journey on self-discovery. It doesn't say group work. It says self-discovery. The book explains itself. There's an excellent community called the Seasonal Soul ran by Erin Bruce. I've shared her PDFs in the LAC before. I like her. She is not Lauren Aletta. There's a difference, okay? So when you're looking, everybody's like, oh, well, I saw Seasonal Soul. They're two different entities. This is Lauren Alefa. This is her book. This is her trajectory on this. The Seasonal Soul run by Erin Bruce is totally different. So don't get them twisted up. And she is French and she doesn't do much in the English speaking language. She has a beautiful set of cards, but they are in French. So this is your soul discovery. This is your guide. This is your work. How you choose to do it is yours. You're not going to see me sitting up here going, you're wrong, because I'm not going to. And in time, I'm not going to be the only person leading these meetings. Other people will pick these up and help. Because like I said, this is your journey. So it's only fair you lead as well as sit in circle. That's what a circle's for. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your Sunday. The next one is printed up. Jen will have these prompts probably in tomorrow. She's going to send me a blab of them so we can get them in. Last week was just a mess with everything going on. So as soon as we have everything settled, they will be posted in the Alchemy Hearth and the Cauldron Cackle. I'll continue to put the Zoom links up public because we still have a lot of people who are just finding us. Medusa has once again brought a lot of people in asking questions and wanting to know, what do you do over here? My exact answer is I smack bitches and do shadow work. That's my exact answer. That's how I respond. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful afternoon. I will see you for Snow White later. Caroline and I are going to, she's going to listen to me read the Grimm Tale for a little bit before we do this tonight. So you guys have a really good one. Thank you for coming. I'll put the replay up and get it posted in here. Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thank you.
afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Love you guys.
Bye.